What is up, everyone? As you can see from the title of the video, I'm going to be going through some things that can be implemented into the F125 game that will make it great. Without any hesitation, let's get into it. So the first thing that they need to put into the game, as far as when you're doing the online multiplayer Grand Prix mode, when it comes to using the multiplayer car, you're not able to select who you want as your teammate and which garage you're going to be in. So when it comes to the interface, when you're under multiplayer cars, you can click to the right and the next set of options will show select your livery. Now, when you switch it to the official F1 cars, then instead of select livery, it says select driver and team. So what it is that they need to do when you're using the multiplayer cars, all they need to do is just put that select driver and team beside select livery. So you can select your livery first, and then you go to the next option, which will allow you to select your team and or your garage. Have all of those faces there. They can even just be blank silhouettes instead of having the actual F1 driver's car or F1 driver's faces there, just so that you can choose which garage and who your teammate is going to be. The second thing that they need to implement, this one might be kind of hard, but I will just list it. They need to try and make it so that they have a list of all of the rules that exist as far as driving. So the illegal overtake penalty, speeding in the pit lane, crossing over the pit lane exit line. Every single rule that can either garner a warning and or get you a time penalty. It would be nice if they would be able to list all of those as options where you can turn them either on or off. Now, this may be somewhat difficult to do. If they could do it, it would be awesome. But once again, I understand that it might be somewhat difficult to be able to navigate through every single option that exists. The third thing that they need to do is they need to implement an option as far as the countdown going into a race. So we've obviously, anybody who's done league racing has had the issue where someone readies up too quickly and then you're only given 30 seconds to be able to do what it is that you need to do as far as your strategy and or your setup. So it would be nice if they had an option where you can choose how many minutes. There will be a countdown as to how many minutes, seconds or minutes until it goes into the Grand Prix mode. So it's not the first person who clicks ready up will then set the timer for everybody else. The fourth thing that they need to do is, this one's pretty simple. It would just be nice if they would be able to implement the racing line assist into the time trial leaderboard, so that it could just let us know. We already have ABS and traction control, and I think braking assist is the other one. It would be nice if they just had another row that showed who was using the racing line as opposed to who isn't. The fifth thing that they need to do is add a 75% race distance. I know recently they added 35%. But it would be nice if they did add 75% just to have a bit of a window between a 50% race and a 100% race. The sixth thing that they need to do, and this kind of ties in with adding a 75% race distance, they need to double the effects as far as tire wear is concerned. So whatever it is that the value is currently at, where locking up adds tire wear as well as non-smooth driving, I think they need to double it so that it adds a bit more variation as far as tire wear is concerned. Now, as far as tire wear is concerned, I also ran a test to see what the tire wear is like across the different Grand Prix length of races. So for 5 lappers, 25%, 50%, and 100%. So from what I found, 25% and 50% has the exact same tire wear value, where if you drive 3 laps in a 25% race and 3 laps in a 50% race, your tire wear will be the exact same. As for 5 lappers and 100% races, their tire wear is equivalent. So the same wear that you would get over 3 laps in a 5 lapper will be the same amount of wear that you will have in a 100% race. So that just lets us know they have the same value as far as tire wear is concerned when it comes to the 25% and 50% race distance. That has the same, and then 5 lappers in conjunction with 100% race distances. So what would be also a cool option if they could add it would be if you can choose maybe like low, medium, high as far as tire wear is concerned. So whatever it is for the 5 lappers and the 100% race, you can set that would be the low value as far as tire wear is concerned. For 50% and 25% races, that would be medium. And then it would be kind of cool if they can add a high where it could maybe be, so 5 lappers and 100% would, let's say, it or is half as far as tire wear in comparison with 25% and 50% races. So maybe if they can just make it like an extra 25% wear and let that be the high setting or high value as far as if there were to be a tire wear option. The 7th thing that they need to add to the game is they need to make dirty air more severe. And even if they just had to do something where whatever it is right now, that can be reduced, and then make one that is more severe, and then you can call that simulation, or even have it 3 options if you want, like reduced, standard, and simulation. But they need to do something where there's either an option or they just outright make more dirty air as far as the driving is concerned in the game. Number 8, they need to fix the ERS system as far as qualifying is concerned. Now in F1 23, you were only able to go from none to hot lap, and you were not able to use the battery as far as using ERS while you're doing your hot lap, while being in hot lap. Whereas in F1 24, you're able to go into none, medium, or hot lap, and you can also use the battery while you're in hot lap. So I think they need to get rid of that whole idea of being able to use the battery while you're in hot lap mode, and maybe just limit it to having the use of putting your ERS deployment into none, medium, or hot lap. And yeah, just leave it at that. Number 9, it would be kind of cool if they were to implement some sort of suspension damage. So something where wheel banging will cause damage, and maybe it's a case of if you have it on simulation, then if you do any type of wheel banging once, whichever wheel makes contact with someone else's wheel, then it'll be a puncture. If it's on standard, then it'll have to be 2 hits of a particular tire that would create a puncture. And then if it's on reduced, then it would have to be 3 hits of a tire for there to be a puncture. So that would be kind of cool if they could implement that as well. For number 10, it would be nice if they could make an option where brake marker boards can either ghost or they can be translucent. So if it's ghosting brake marker boards, they will just be the regular brake marker boards that we have in the game. However, if a car goes to it or through it, then they will ghost so that, or it will ghost so that it will still stay on the side of the track, and or have them translucent so that they can be slightly clear, but obviously still visible while you're driving, and then they would just act as if they are invisible when or if a car drives through it. And for number 11, they need to implement an option as to whether or not you have to serve a penalty in the pits or during your pit stop. So they need to make an option where you can turn this on or off. Now in this footage, you'll be able to see that I am doing a race around Austria, and going through turn 1, I get an illegal overtake penalty. Now if this were a league race, you would be able to submit an incident report and say that you got an illegal overtake penalty, and then it would be able to get removed. However, as you can see, when you go into the pits, you have to serve that penalty, which is unfair. And then if you do serve the penalty, I guess depending on the league, it'll be dependent on if they will take 10 seconds off of your time or not, I guess depending on if there's a safety car or not. So it would be good if they could implement a option where you can turn off or on being able to serve penalties during your pit stop. So that's going to do it for the suggestions that I have for F125, but this is actually going to be part 1 because I have a part 2 that I'm going to be doing very soon, and it's going to be an analysis of driving when I'm doing a race around Belgium. So it's going to be an analysis of the driving as far as the game is concerned, and what things I think they can, or what additional things I think they can implement as far as that is concerned. And it's not going to be me talking about the handling model. I'm assuming that they are going to be putting in their best effort to try and make the handling model as good as possible. And even as it is right now, the handling model to me is pretty good. So I'm not going to be talking about the handling model. It's just going to be things as far as driving specifically and different types of things that they can maybe change as far as the racing is concerned. So I'd like to thank you for tuning into this video. Make sure that you comment below and let me know as far as some of the things that I outlined in this video, if you agree or disagree, or if you have any other things that you believe need to be implemented into the F125 game for it to be very, very good. I'd like to thank you for tuning into this video. For myself, Kema, I'd like to say take care.